Hello there you guys, welcome to another of my live videos, and today I'm just going to be officially updating you on some more current latest news. So if you do consider drop your likes, and if you do consider subscribe to the channel as always. So potentially, as you're all aware of, Manchester United are getting a £250 million spending spree this summer, but the big question is, what players would you recommend to come in to Manchester United? Because I think we need to bring at least 5 new players in. I think as well we do need to get rid of at least 5 players, so we are expected to orchestrate a big summer clear out. But Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, as you all know, I think he's worked out his transfer strategy for this summer, and he wants to sign young players, that can last many years at Manchester United, that can grow, develop and emulate into superstars. So there is a lot of players on Manchester United's agenda, but Ole Gunnar Solskjaer wants to recommend young players to come in, and I don't think he's intending on bringing any short-term players to the club. You can see the deficiencies in the squad, so you can identify the areas where Manchester United are lacking, and we do need to resolve these problems in the summer. So for my own preference, I think we need a right back, we need a central defender, we may even need 2 central defenders. We need about 3 new additions in that midfield. We do need a right winger, possibly need a striker, especially if Lukaku is to currently leave the club. So there's lots to do this summer, so we do basically need to take drastic action. Obviously we do know Manchester United want to get a director of footballing, want to confirm this before the start of next season. So obviously we need a structural change in the club, and that's obviously, as I've just said, getting a director of footballing. But there has been quite a few candidate names, who could take that director's role at Manchester United. But obviously, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is going to need backing this summer. As I do say, we have been playing catch up for the last 5 or 6 years, and we do know a lot of money has been spent at Manchester United, since Alex Ferguson retired. I think about £700 million has been spent, in all the managerial areas, because we have been playing, as I said, we've been playing catch up for the last 5 or 6 years. But I do believe in the next couple of seasons, our aspirations is going to be us fighting for that top 4. I think we're at least 3 or 4 years off, for mounting any kind of title challenge up. But Ole Gunnar Solskjaer still believes that we can attract players to the elite level, even though we're not in a Champions League football for next season. So this is what basically Ole Gunnar Solskjaer believes. But Ole Gunnar Solskjaer did basically say that he has been contacted by a number of agents saying that their players would like to come to Manchester United. But looking at none of this squad is Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, so he's still in the process of rebuilding, of course, and he wants to buy into our current history. Does Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. But as I did say, he's inheriting 11 of Jose Mourinho's players. There's still some players here from Van Gaal. There's Matter here from the David Moyes era. There's 4 or 5 players here from the Alex Ferguson era. So none of this squad is Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. I don't know if he's got the stature, to command Manchester United in that position, where we do currently want to be, and time will currently tell. But I know Ole Gunnar Solskjaer hasn't really got the managerial experience, hasn't really got a great managerial pedigree. He's got the experience of a player, but he hasn't really got it as a manager. So that does really concern me. But if we do continue to persist his bad vein of form going into next season, and then I will be critical of Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, then I will want him out of Manchester United, because it seems to have all gone wrong, since he's got the job permanently, and some of the blame, does stem from Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, because his team selections have been wrong, his tactics have been very questionable, and I think also some of the blame, does stem from Ed Woodward. But I think the majority of the blame is on the players, to be quite honest. They haven't been performing well enough, we haven't been scoring enough goals, defensively we've been very poor, and analysing throughout the course of the season, we've conceded far too many goals. I think we conceded about 54 goals in the league, and that's just potentially not good enough, of course, and we've got to address these problems in the summer. But reflecting back when Ole Gunnar Solskjaer was the interim manager, everything was going right, the results were good, the performances were really good, he exceeded expectation levels, did Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, but it just seemed to have all gone wrong since he's got the job permanently. Maybe some people are saying maybe we give him the job too early, maybe we should have waited until this point now, whether to make a decision, whether to give him the job or not. So time will tell, going on into next season. So as you all do currently know, there's a lot of players on Manchester United's agenda, of course, and as you all know, there has been a lot of news circulating around the media today in regards to Crystal Palace Wilfried Zaha, and I think now Wilfried Zaha, does want to leave Crystal Palace, because he's blatantly told Crystal Palace, he wants to leave the club this summer. And I think, Wilfried Zaha, from his own preference, wants to go to a bigger club. And I think, he wants to be playing Champions League football. And of course, he's not going to experience this at Crystal Palace. But I do believe he wants to take his career to another level. There's Wilfried Zaha, and I think he wants to play to the highest level. And recent reports have just come out saying that, if Crystal Palace do decide to sell him this summer, Crystal Palace may demand that they want around £100 million for Wilfried Zaha. I think he's initially valued at around 70 or 80 million pounds. We do know he's attracted interest from the likes of Arsenal. I think also Tottenham have been interested in Wilfried Zaha. So if he does leave, is he going to stay in the Premier League, Wilfried Zaha? Because obviously he's well Premier League proven, and initially he learned his trade in the Premier League, did Wilfried Zaha. Wilfried Zaha is still in his mid-20s, he's 26 years of age, he has still got a lot of years ahead of him, so he is in his prime. Obviously, Wilfried Zaha can play as a forward, he can also play as a winger, so I think he mainly plays as a forward, does Wilfried Zaha, and I think that's where the majority of his goals come from, in that forward position, but he also can play as a winger, and that's one of the areas where Manchester United are lacking. So the Daily Mail has just reported, if Crystal Palace, do sell Wilfried Zaha this summer, Manchester United reportedly receive around £15 million. I think this is due to the sell-on clause, because I think we have got a sell-on clause in Wilfried Zaha's deal that saw him, make the move to Crystal Palace. But obviously, when Wilfried Zaha was young, obviously, he played for Manchester United. He had 2 years with Manchester United, but he never really got the opportunity in Manchester United when he was younger. Obviously, never really made an impact, of course. And it was actually, one of I think it was actually, Alex Ferguson's last signing. I think we paid around £10 million for him, but it was Alex Ferguson's last signing before he announced his retirement at the end of that season, and I think we did pay him around £10 million. Well, initially Wilfried Zaha began his career with Crystal Palace, then he had 2 years with Manchester United, then he went back to Crystal Palace on loan, then he had a loan spell with Cardiff, so he has played under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer as Zaha, and then I think he went back to Palace on loan, and then I think he signed permanently for them in 2015, but he has been fantastic indeed. I think he signed a contract extension, was it last August, so he's on the contract with Crystal Palace until 2023, he's Wilfried Zaha, but I don't, to be quite honest with you, I don't think he'll come back to Manchester United, Wilfried Zaha. I think if Arsenal do get into the Champions League next season, I think he probably, will go to Arsenal, or he may even intend on going to Tottenham, Wilfried Zaha, but initially valued at around £80 million. So yeah, he has been on Manchester United's agenda. I always thought that we did have like some kind of clause in his deal, but anyway, if Crystal Palace do sell him this summer, the Daily Mail says we get around £15 million, due to the sell-on clause. So he's actually, still on Manchester United's agenda. He's Wilfried Zaha, and initially, learned his trade in the Premier League, but I think he's grown, developed, and flourished fantastically well. Crystal Palace, from their own perspective, wouldn't want to lose him because Crystal Palace know how much of an essential player he is. But I think he does want to currently leave, and he wants to be playing to the highest level, and he wants to be in Champions League football. So yeah, looking likely, Wilfried Zaha is going to be leaving. And we could, if we were to get him in, obviously, you could see him as a replacement for Romelu Lukaku, to be quite honest, because obviously, Lukaku's been heavily linked to a move away from Manchester United this summer. And as I did say, if we can sell the likes of Lukaku, if we can sell Pogba, perhaps maybe sell De Gea, that's going to help us with our rebuilding process, and it will help us with our transition. And we've had another possible replacement of Romelu Lukaku, and that's Moussa Dembele from Lyon. Now, I think reports were coming out about this was it 3 or 4 weeks ago, saying that Manchester United had expressed an interest in Moussa Dembele, and Moussa Dembele is very, very young. He's only 22 years of age. Reports have come out today saying that Manchester United are planning to put a bidding of around £40 million for Moussa Dembele. As I said, he's 22 years of age. This has only been his first season at Lyon, of course, but he has been very, very impressive. Lyon got him last summer for £20 million from Celtic, of course. I think he's initially valued at around £40 million. He's under contract with Lyon until 2023, but obviously he's had experience of playing in Scotland. He had 2 good years with Celtic when he was younger, of course. He played for Fulham, I think. He is up the ranks with Fulham, and then broke into the first team with Fulham. I think he spent 3 years in the senior squad with Fulham. But yeah, he looks a pretty decent player. He can score goals, as he has proven throughout the course of this season with Lyon. So he's on Manchester United's agenda. So we could see him as a potential replacement for Romelu Lukaku, because obviously Lukaku could be possibly on his way out the club in the summer. I think he's going to be going to Italy, if he does leave, because obviously Lukaku did admit his dream of playing in the Serie A. And for me, Lukaku, he hasn't got the capabilities, to play to the highest level. He's too slow. I've got strong reservations reservations about him. And don't get me wrong, his pedigree is very, very good in the Premier League. You know, Lukaku's, he has scored a lot of goals in the Premier League. But as I did currently say, you know, I think we need to get rid of him in the summer. You know, we paid, what, £75 million for him, plus 15 million in add-ons, which had risen the deal to £90 million. He's still got 3 years left on his contract. He's on about £250,000 a week, is Romelu Lukaku. And as I did say, you know, always getting them Galactico players, you know, you know, spending big on players, you know, as I do keep saying, doesn't always get you in that commanding position, you know, I do currently want to be. And there you go. Prime example, we paid 75 million for Lukaku, 89 million pounds there for Paul Pogba. So they are prime examples there. So maybe some people are saying, you know, we should be sensible with our recruitment this summer, because we are all aware that there's quite a few players out there for a reasonable figure. And it doesn't mean, you know, you getting the Galactico players, it's going to get you in that commanding position, you know, where you do currently want to be, like I've just basically said. But I think we need to get rid of Romelu Lukaku anyway. You know, he has been linked with Juventus, he has been linked with a move to Inter Milan, and I think his agent did admit a while back that Lukaku's future is very, very open. He's initially lost his place in the squad, but as I did say, he hasn't got that endless potential. His finishing concerns me, and when it comes to him playing the big teams, you know, he's a big game bottler, so maybe we should cash in for Lukaku this summer. But do you think, you know, Moussa Dembele, you know, would be a good replacement for him? You know, do you think Wilfried Zaha, you know, would be a good replacement for him? Even Paul Dybala, you know, do you think he'd be a good replacement for Romelu Lukaku? Because we do know there has been a lot of talks about Paulo Dybala, you know, going on. Don't get me wrong, I have got reservations about Paulo Dybala, of course, but don't get me wrong, I have got reservations about Paul Dybala, but he has proven in his number of years with Juventus, you know, that he can score goals. I've analysed him, you know, throughout the course of this season. You know, Paul Dybala, he hasn't really, you know, had the chance throughout the course of this season. He's been in and out of the squad this season with Juventus because obviously since the arrival of Cristiano Ronaldo, you know, Paul Dybala has found game time very, very difficult. Paul Dybala is 25 years of age, so he has basically, you know, still got a lot of years ahead of him. But if he was to come to Manchester United and score goals whilst he's adapting other areas of his game, you know, that would be good enough, of course. Reports came out the other week saying that Manchester United were reportedly in talks with Juventus over a possible move for Paulo Dybala. The reported fee was around £85 million, so he has been on Manchester United's agenda. As you all know, a couple of days ago, you know, there was talks going on about Sanchez and Paulo Dybala as a potential swap deal, of course, because obviously, as we all do know, that Alexis Sanchez's agent was in Italy, you know, negotiating with the Juventus director, Alexis Sanchez, you know, making the move to Juventus this summer. But it did say Man United could possibly use Sanchez to sign Paulo Dybala. But we do know anywhere in regards to Sanchez that he's getting loaned out for this. He's getting a long loan season. Is Alexis Sanchez. He will be. I think he's going to be probably, you know, applying his trade in Italy next season. Obviously, we do know Manchester United, you know, would have liked to sanction Sanchez off permanently, but obviously, you know, based on his astronomical wages, obviously, you know, we can't sanction him off permanently because obviously no teams out there can currently meet his wages. They can't afford to pay his current wages off. But I think it has been agreed now. Manchester United are willing to sanction Sanchez off on a long season loan, and of course as well, Manchester United are willing to pay half of his wages off, and that's very, very good news, to be quite honest, because obviously we know Alexis Sanchez is one of our problematic players, and as I did say, we are expected to orchestrate a big summer clear out, but one of the players we want to get out, of course, is Alexis Sanchez. And I've been very, very surprised at Alexis Sanchez, because when we got him 15-16 months ago, you know, I thought, you know, he'd have exceeded expectations at Manchester United. I thought he would have been a fundamental player for us, you know, reflecting back what he did at Arsenal. Obviously, you know, he played under Pep Guardiola when he was younger, so I thought he'd done fantastic, you know, Alexis Sanchez. It just hasn't materialised for him. He hasn't got a future at the club anywhere. He hasn't got a future at the club anyway. You know, he's age 30 now. He has lost that yard of pace as Sanchez, and since he's come at Manchester United, you know, he has become injury prone. He has sustained, you know, quite a few injuries, so it is looking likely he's going to be either going to Inter Milan or Juventus, because Juventus and Inter Milan have both expressed their interest in the Chilean, and it did say they have been in negotiations with Alexis Sanchez's agent. So Sanchez, I think, has agreed, you know, to take a pay cut. He's going on a long season loan, and Manchester United are willing to pay half of his current wages off. So that is very, very good. But obviously, his wages are having a really, really bad effect on the club anyway. I think he's on on 400 grand a week. I think rises to find £500,000 a week. I think like on image rights, something like that. I think it's like based on goals and bonuses or something like that, but it does rise up to £500,000 a week, but it is initially £400,000 a week. So it's good that, you know, we can sanction Alexis Sanchez off. But with Paul Dybala, I've got reservations about him, don't get me wrong, but he can score goals as he has proven. You know, he's 25 years of age. I think he is inconsistent. I've got reservations, you know, when it comes to his defensive abilities. I think I've got some concerns about his finishing, but he has proven over the years at Juventus, you know, that he can score goals, Paulo Dybala. So he has been on Manchester United's agenda, you know, for some time. Talking about Nicolas Pepe, you know, from you know, Lille, you know, I'd love Nicolas Pepe, you know, to come to Manchester United, of course, and it has been circulating around the media at least in the last couple of days that Manchester United have been interested in. It did say Manchester United have been in negotiations with Lille to sign Nicolas Pepe this summer. I think Man United were eyeing around a £45 million move for him, but I think from Lille's perspective, they would demand that they want around £70 million for him. But there has been a number of teams that have attracted their interest in him. Manchester United have been interested. I think Real Madrid now have showed their interest. I think PSG have been interested. Bayern Munich have been interested. Liverpool have been interested. Arsenal have been interested in him. And, you know, he's just a very, very good player. And I do believe he has got the attributes, you know, to succeed in the Premier League. So possibly next season, you know, Nicolas Pepe could be applying his trade in the Premier League. Obviously, you know, so far he spent the entirety of his career in France. He has been at Lille a couple of seasons. I think he's under contract with Lille until 2022, but he has got immense talent. He's very, very good. He's quick. He can score goals, and he can also provide assists. And he's the obvious candidate for the right wing, because obviously, you know, Nicolas Pepe is primarily a winner. But yeah, he has been on Manchester United's agenda, of course. But Manchester United have been in negotiations with Lille, and I think it would be a step up for him, you know, if he was to come to the Premier League, because maybe he wants to play to the highest level. Does Nicolas Pepe? But I think he's been on Arsenal's agenda, you know, for some time. I think Arsenal have been linked with Nicolas Pepe at least in the last couple of months, but I'd love him to come to Manchester United, and I think he'd blend in very, very well in our attacking line. And so I do think he's got the capabilities and the you know, attributes to succeed in the Premier League, and I think he's got the abilities to elevate Manchester United if he was to come in at least in the next 2 to 3 years. You know, he's only 23 years of age, so he is very, very young. So yeah, there has been a lot of talks about him, you know, going on in the media, but definitely, you know, we do need a winger, and that's one of the priority areas, you know, Manchester United need to strengthen up, of course, because obviously we do know who mainly plays on that right wing. Of course, it's mainly, you know, Jesse Lingard who plays on that right wing, but obviously his performances have been way below par in the last couple of months. I still believe Jesse Lingard is the long-term solution for Manchester United. I know Lingard can sometimes, he can actually, you know, play in the number 10 role, can Lingard, so he can play through the middle, but he does mainly, you know, play on the right, you know, when he does play Jesse Lingard. But if any team was to say here there's 50-60 million pounds for Jesse Lingard, then maybe we would consider, you know, sanctioning him off. But he's highly experienced, he's Jesse Lingard, you know, he's 27 years of age, but I still believe he's the long-term solution for Manchester United. And obviously, you know, we've got Juan Mata, you know, that can play on that right wing. Obviously in the Chelsea game, was it, if I can remember rightly, the Chelsea game and the Huddersfield game, Juan Mata was playing in the number 10 role, because Juan Mata can play in the middle, he can play on the right winger, can Juan Mata, but he's one of the likely players that's going to leave Manchester United in the summer, unfortunately. I'd like Juan Mata, you know, to stay at the club at least another season, because I really, really like him. I think he's been a very consistent player for Manchester United as Juan Mata. Obviously, Juan Mata has been at Manchester United now, 5 seasons? He has made over 200 odd appearances in all competitions. I think he's scored about 50 odd goals, but he's been a great servant to the club. But obviously now he has lost that yard of pace. He is age 31, he's Juan Mata, so basically now he is aging up. So he's probably likely he's going to be leaving the club. Obviously, he's been in the Premier League a lot of years now as Juan Mata, but I think Man United, they're willing to offer him a 1-year extension. But I think Juan Mata is intending on making the move to Barcelona, because it did say Barcelona have been in talks of getting Juan Mata on a free transfer. But I think from Juan Mata's perspective, he wants to make the return to Spain, because obviously he's Spanish himself, had a lot of experience playing in Spain when he was younger, Juan Mata. We know with Real Madrid and Valencia, so I think he'll intending on making a return back to Spain, Juan Mata. Obviously, he's a squad player now anyway. He's initially lost his players in the team. If he is to go to Barcelona, obviously, you know, Barcelona aren't going to see him as a replacement for Messi. He's going to be used as a squad player for Barcelona. So yeah, we definitely need a right winner at Manchester United. And yeah, and I think as I said, Nicolas Pepe would be the right solution. Borussia Dortmund's Jadon Sancho, he's primarily a winner, but he can play centrally. But I don't see Manchester United getting Jadon Sancho on the board, even though he has been the club's #1 priority target for a very, very long time. But obviously, I think as Jadon Sancho confirmed, he's willing to remain loyal to Borussia Dortmund at least for another season. And Borussia Dortmund are very, very adamant that he will stay at Borussia Dortmund. Jadon Sancho, Man United, were willing to pay the £100 million, because we have got the financial power, to meet his current valuation. And obviously Jadon Sancho, wants to stay at Borussia Dortmund. He's 19 years of age. He's one of England's youngest upcoming talents, and I think he can play between the byline. He can score goals, he can provide assists, but it will be likely that he'll continue plying his trade in Germany next season with Borussia Dortmund. But he has been on Manchester United's agenda, for quite some time now. Obviously, he's had experience of playing in the Premier League, because obviously he's a former Manchester City player, where he did serve a couple of years at Manchester City, but he never really got the chance at City, and this is one of the main reasons why he left City and went to Borussia Dortmund, where Jadon Sancho. And Borussia Dortmund only paid around, was it £7 or £8 million from Manchester City. He has got a contract with Borussia Dortmund until 2022, but his performances in his couple of seasons with Borussia Dortmund have been absolutely fantastic, of course. And so I don't think we're going to get Jadon Sancho. So our move for Jadon Sancho now is in serious jeopardy, because it did actually say he was willing to reject a £100 million move to Old Trafford. So yeah, so we've obviously now got other alternatives in mind. So I do believe we missed out on Jadon Sancho. Going into that midfield, I do believe we need 3 new additions in that midfield, to be quite honest with you. Because it's looking like, Paul Pogba's going. Obviously, Ander Herrera has currently left the club, so we do need a replacement for Ander Herrera and Paul Pogba. I do believe also that we do need a centre defensive midfielder that's fast and tenacious, of course. But there has been a lot of midfielders on Manchester United's agenda, as we all know. I'd love Leicester's Youri Tielemans to come in. There has been a lot of talks about Youri Tielemans going on in the media, at least in the last couple of days, saying that the likes of Man United have been interested in him. It said Arsenal have been interested in him. It also said that Tottenham have been interested in Youri Tielemans. But I really, really like Youri Tielemans. He's very, very young. He's 22 years of age. He's currently on loan at Leicester, as you all know at the moment. I think he's been on loan at Leicester about 6 months now. Obviously, Leicester got him on loan from Monaco back in January, and he's been very, very impressive, since he's gone on loan at Leicester. But I think Leicester and Brendan Rodgers, do want to get Youri Tielemans on a permanent deal, and Leicester have been in negotiations with Monaco about this, because Leicester are aware that the likes of my club, Man United, are interested, Arsenal are interested, Tottenham are interested. I think he's still got a contract with Monaco till 2022 as Youri Tielemans. I think he's primarily a central midfielder, and I think he's rated at around £40 million, so that is a reasonable figure, if I'm going to be quite honest with you. So yeah, he's on Manchester United's agenda. And, Bruno Fernandes from Sporting Lisbon. I think Sporting Lisbon want around £60 million for Bruno Fernandes this summer. And I really, really like Bruno Fernandes. He's primarily an attacking midfielder. I think he would be good. He would be a good ideal replacement for Paul Pogba, with Bruno Fernandes. Bruno Fernandes, 24 years of age, has still got a lot of years ahead of him. I think Man United have been scouting him at least in the last month or two, reflecting on his impressive performances throughout the course of this season with Sporting Lisbon. He's got goals in him, he's got assists in him, and we need creativeness in that midfield, and we need depth in that midfield, and someone that can score goals in that midfield. And I do believe that Bruno Fernandes, would be the right player. Of course, he hasn't had any experience of playing in the Premier League as yet, but I do believe he's got the attributes, to succeed in the Premier League, and I do believe he would tear the Premier League apart, Bruno Fernandes, if he was to come to the Premier League, and I do believe he would produce and deliver, the same element of the performances, that he has been doing in his couple of seasons in Portugal with Sporting Lisbon. But yeah, reportedly they want around £60 million. His initial release clause is around £85 or £86 million is Bruno Fernandes. Obviously, we do know that Manchester City have been linked to him. I still think Manchester City are linked to him now. I think he did say the other week that City were on the brink of getting Bruno Fernandes, and they were on the brink of finalising a deal for him, because it did say as City were in talks with Sporting Lisbon over a deal worth around £47 million. Everyone said, why was it £47 million? Because I think City were willing to offer one or two of their players as part of the deal. Then it initially said City had currently dropped their interest, but I think City are still in for him. But City have probably seen him as a replacement for Fernandinho, but obviously, actually, no, Fernandinho is primarily a defensive midfielder. So yeah, but he's been on Manchester United's agenda. He's been on Manchester City's agenda as Bruno Fernandes, and Bruno Fernandes, had a lot of experience of playing in Italy. When he was young, with Udinese and San Pandora. So yeah, he's on Manchester United's agenda, and I think he'd blend in very, very well in our midfield, and I think he'd be a good replacement for Paul Pogba. And talking about the likes of João Felix, we do know there's been a lot of talks about Benfica's, João Felix, he's been on Manchester United's agenda. I think Manchester City have also expressed their interest in João Felix. João Felix, as you all know, has got a buyout clause of around £100 million, only 19 years of age, very, very young, got a lot of years ahead of him, of course, and I think this has only been his first season in the senior squad with Benfica's as João Felix, but primarily, as I said, an attacking midfielder, can play as a winner, can play as a striker, so he is versatile. But I think Man United have been scouting him now, at least in the last couple of months, reflecting on his impressive performances. So yeah, he's been on Manchester United's agenda at least for the last couple of months now as João Felix. And Declan Rice from West Ham, Man United have been linked with him, and he's actually, one of Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's prime targets. He's Declan Rice, from West Ham, only very, very young, only 20 years of age, primarily a defensive midfielder, holds his line very, very well. And I've analysed his performances, throughout the course of this season, Declan Rice's, and, they've been very, very impressive indeed. He has got a long-term contract with West Ham until 2024. He signed this in December of last year, did Declan Rice. So I'd love him to come to Manchester United. I think he'd do very, very well. He's an energetic midfielder. He can break up the play very, very well. Well Premier League proven. Learned his trade in the Premier League, and he could be available. For around £50 million. Good Declan Rice this summer. So what we've got to take into account, these players out there for a reasonable figure, and maybe we shouldn't spend too much money on one player, because maybe we could get 2 or 3 for maybe £100 million, or maybe just over £100 million. Prime example, Bruno Fernandes cost. This is a prime example. 60 million for Bruno Fernandes. 40 million for Youri Tielemans, that's £100 million there for 2 decent players. Say Declan Rice, £50 million, that's £150 million on 3 good players there. And so yeah, so maybe we should be sensible with our recruitment this summer. And if we get rid of Pogba, of course, that's going to help us with our transition. I think Manchester United want around £160 million for Paul Pogba. I don't think we want to lose Pogba anywhere, but if we are willing to do any business for Paul Pogba, I think we've made it clear that we do want around £160 million for him. It's still looking likely he's going to be making the move to Real Madrid in the summer, even though recent reports have basically said that the talks between Pogba and Real Madrid have currently stalled, based on Paul Pogba's £13 million a year wage demands, and that does seem to be having a bad effect on negotiations, between Pogba and Real Madrid. But I still believe probably, Real Madrid will get a deal over the line. Patrice Evra came out and he basically said, he claims that the Man United fans are killing Paul Pogba, and I think Patrice Evra is very, very adamant that Paul Pogba, will leave Manchester United in the summer, because I don't think he's satisfied at Manchester United. I think he feels very, very unsettled, but maybe one of the main reasons why Paul Pogba wants to leave the club, because he wants to be playing to the highest level, wants to be challenging and stuff, wants to be winning trophies, and Manchester United are a number of years off doing that. So maybe Paul Pogba, wants to be playing to the highest level, and this may be one of the main reasons why he wants to leave Manchester United, of course, as well. Maybe he wants to be playing amongst better players as Paul Pogba, and I think he probably will be playing his trade next season, Paul Pogba, in Spain, I should presume, and it probably, will be with Real Madrid. But I don't think Real Madrid are willing to pay up to the £160 million for him. Reports came out the other week initially saying that Real Madrid were not willing to meet his £290,000 a week wage demands. So it did say that Paul Pogba would have to take some kind of pay cut if he wants to make the move to Real Madrid. But yeah, he's been on Real Madrid's agenda, for quite some time now, as Paul Pogba. Obviously, Paul Pogba was talking a lot about Real Madrid a while back, about his dream to play for them and all that. And obviously, Zinedine Zidane is a big admirer of the player. Obviously, Zinedine Zidane's identified his 2 main targets, and that's obviously, Paul Pogba and, Chelsea's Eden Hazard. I think they have agreed now a deal, for Eden Hazard of Real Madrid. I think is it around £86 million deal that's currently being agreed. I think initially Chelsea wanted around £100 million for Eden Hazard, but I think, if I'm right, I might be wrong, I think it's around an £86 million deal that's been agreed. So now they've got one of their main targets on the board, and Real Madrid hasn't been officially finalised as yet. I think it's set to be announced after Chelsea, after the Europa League final, between Chelsea and Arsenal. But Eden Hazard, as I said, Chelsea will be disappointed, that they're losing him, of course, because obviously, Chelsea can't find a replacement for Eden Hazard, as you all know. They can't find a replacement for him, because obviously they've got a transfer ban, so they can't do any transfer activity in the next 2 two windows. Chelsea did appeal against the decision, but they currently, as you all know, lost out on their current appeal. So Chelsea can't do any transfer activity in the next couple of windows, so they can't find a replacement for Eden Hazard. But Eden Hazard's definitely, their best player. He's served 7 good seasons in the Premier League, with Chelsea. I still think he's definitely, one of the best players in the Premier League, Eden Hazard. You mainly see the best of Eden Hazard on the left-hand side. I don't think he's much of a team player, but I think his work ethic's good. I think his physicality is very, very good. I think his pace is unbelievable. His finishing's very, very good. And I've analysed Eden Hazard, throughout the course of this season. Quite a few times he has played in that false number 9 role, but that doesn't suit Eden Hazard. You mainly see the best of him on that left-hand side. That's where I think he's a really good outlet on that left-hand side. He can play as a midfielder, Eden Hazard, like it as an attacking midfielder, but you do mainly see the best of him on that left-hand side. Chelsea tried to convince him to sign a new contract, but Chelsea couldn't come to an agreement to get him a new contract. I think Chelsea were willing to offer him around 300 grand a week. He's still under contract with Chelsea till 2020, but obviously, Chelsea are adamant that he does want to leave Chelsea, and obviously, Chelsea would want to cash in for him this summer rather than letting go on a free in the summer of 2020. But he's been at Chelsea since 2012. I think he has made over 300 appearances in all competitions. But when Zinedine Zidane got reappointed at Real Madrid, obviously, I know he was managerless for 9 months, but he's been linked to Real Madrid a while as Eden Hazard. But when he was managerless for 9 months, that may have maybe convinced Eden Hazard to stay at Chelsea. But now, obviously, he got reappointed Zinedine Zidane. That's probably convinced Eden Hazard now even more, to make his move to Real Madrid. Because obviously, Eden Hazard is Zinedine Zidane's idol, and this is one of the main factor reasons he's going to Real Madrid, is Eden Hazard. And so Chelsea will be disappointed, that they're losing out on him. They can't find a current replacement for Eden Hazard. But yeah, it's been going on for a long time, that he does, basically want to leave Chelsea. Eden Hazard, as I said, the contract's been agreed, the personal terms have also been agreed, and now I think the fee has been agreed, but it hasn't been officially announced yet. So now Real Madrid obviously will be focusing more on Paul Pogba, of course. And Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, has built a great relationship with Paul Pogba, because when I did say Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, managed the Manchester United reserve team, he watched some of this team this day and age, grow and develop, and of course one of them was Paul Pogba. But recent reports have said that their relationship is slowly fading away. But we do know Paul Pogba's agent, at least in the last couple of weeks, has been in the process of finding him a new club. Paul Pogba, of course, has still got 3 years left on his contract with Manchester United. But obviously last year, Paul Pogba was heavily linked to a move away from Old Trafford, based on his poor relationship with Jose Mourinho. Obviously, he was linked with Barcelona. He was linked with his former club, Juventus, with Paul Pogba. But I still believe he's destined, to make the move to Real Madrid. So I do believe we can get around 150, 160 million pounds for him. We could get 2 players with that money. Maybe we could even get 3 players with that money. So I do believe it will be very, very beneficial, and it will help us with our rebuilding process. And talking about as well other midfielders, as I said, Declan Rice would be a good solution. Everton's Idrissa Gueye, I wouldn't be too sure about Everton's Idrissa Gueye, if I'm going to be quite honest with you. But talking about this Daniel James, there has been a lot of talks about him. I think quite a lot of Manchester United fans, would like to see Daniel James, get recommended in, and there has been a lot of talks about Daniel James, and has he got the capabilities, to play to the highest level, of course? And do you think he'd be good enough for Manchester United? Because obviously he's a Championship player, is Daniel James, and to be quite fair, throughout the course of this season with Swansea, he has been impressive as Daniel James. I think he's played about 30 odd games, primarily a winner. Can play as a midfield, but I think he's primarily a winner, and he's supposed to be more effective from that left hand side is Daniel James. But there has been quite a few teams interested in Daniel James, reflecting on his impressive performances. I don't know if he'd be the right solution for Manchester United, but he's available for a reasonable figure, because it did say Man United were closing in on a deal for Daniel James for around £15 million, but he's a low expectation. He's a cheap acquisition, is Daniel James. So he's a shot candidate name that's currently being mentioned, of course, Daniel James. I don't know if he's got the capabilities, to be good enough for Manchester United. I don't know if he'd be good enough for Man United. I'm not too sure. But yeah, there has been a lot of talks about him. He's still got a year left on his contract with Swansea. But he could be possibly, one of our first signings that comes in the summer. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer never really, he refused to comment, on the speculation, linking Daniel James with a move to Old Trafford. But yeah, there has been a lot lot of talks about him going on now, at least for the last week, and he's primarily a winner. He mainly plays on that left-hand side, but I think on that left-hand side we're mainly okay on that left-hand side, and I don't think that's the area where we really, need to bolster up. We've got to look at other areas of the squad, because I think the left-hand side is mainly okay. At left-back we're alright, because obviously, we've got Luke Shaw there. He's a very, very good left-back. Obviously, he won the St Matt Buzzard Player of the Year award, Luke Shaw, but hasn't done too much on in a Manchester United shirt, Luke Shaw. So he's a definitely player I would keep in the club. But talking about, Anthony Martial now, obviously there has been rumours, that could possibly, leave Manchester United this summer. But talking about Anthony Martial, I still believe he's the long-term solution. I know his performances have been way below par, at least in the last couple of months with Anthony Martial's. Obviously, we heard positive news the other day coming out. It said Solskjaer was ready to sell Anthony Martial. This had been overruled by the Glazers, and Joe Glazer had stepped his foot down, and Joe Glazer, basically, believes that Martial's a long-term solution. Joe Glazer is a big admirer of the player. It's his favourite player. And actually, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer had a disagreement with Joe Glazer over this. But Joe Glazer, wants him to remain at Manchester United. And Joe Glazer actually, views him as the club's Pele, Anthony Martial. Martial has not graduated to that level yet, don't get me wrong. It still may take him a couple of years, to get into that level, where he wants to be. But I still believe he's a long-term solution, because we do know what he can be capable of on that left-hand side. He's been at Manchester United 4 years now, and we have seen glimpses of, Martial's best form in this 4-year period. He was in really, really good form earlier on throughout the course of this season, but in the last couple of months he's failed to replicate that. I think he was very, very good in his first season there with Manchester United, Anthony Martial. We got him in a deal with £36 million from Monaco, rising up to 57 or 58 million based on goals and achievements. He was linked to a move away from Old Trafford last year, based on his poor relationship with Jose Mourinho. Jose Mourinho wanted to get him out of the club, but obviously, Ed Woodward had blocked this move from materialising. But obviously, Jose Mourinho, when he was at the club, he had disputes, with quite a lot of the star players. He had disputes with the board, and this is the two main factor reasons why it didn't work out under Jose Mourinho. Even though he won the Europa League and League Cup in his first season with Manchester United, Jose Mourinho, but it just didn't work out under him. But Martial was linked to a move away, as I said, when Jose Mourinho was here. But Ed Woodward, of course, didn't want to get rid of him. But obviously, Manchester United gave him a new 5-year contract back in January, of course. So he has got a new long-term contract as Anthony Martial. But I think Solskjaer, wanted to get rid of him because he was reflecting on his bad attitude in training and his current behaviour. But I still want Martial to stay. Unless a team come and said, here, you can have 70, 80 million pounds. If someone said, here, 70, 80 million pounds for Anthony Martial, I'd take their hand and I'd say, right, let's get rid of Anthony Martial. I've heard some people saying, supposedly Daniel James coming in, he could put Anthony Martial's future into more serious jeopardy. But whether Daniel James comes in or not, I still think, Anthony Martial will stay at the club. And I hope he stays at the club anywhere. And talking about, central defenders, there's a lot of central defenders on Manchester United's agenda, of course, as you all know. And obviously, we know Koulibaly. We'd love to get Koulibaly to Manchester United. He's now, obviously, the club's number one priority target. I do presume, obviously, the club will probably have to pay a world record transfer fee to get him on the board. But Man United may try and get him for around £80 million. I don't think Man United are willing to pay 120 or 130 million pounds for Koulibaly, because that wouldn't really make any much sense. But I do really, really like him, and I do believe he would address our defensive deficiencies, fantastic well, because basically we need someone that can go alongside Victor Lindelof in our back line, because I think now Smalling and Jones, they are two problematic players, and I do believe they need to leave the club in the summer, but I don't think Smalling and Jones will leave in the summer. I think they'll be here next season, but it was bad business for Manchester United, giving Smalling a new long-term contract, giving Jones a new long-term contract, and they have been two long-serving players at the club. And, during Phil Jones' 8 seasons at Manchester United, in this 8-year period, we have seen glimpses of Phil Jones' best form, because when he does get them money games, he can play well, can Phil Jones, but, he's not good enough, to represent Manchester United. And comparing Smalling and Jones, I think Smalling is a much, much better defender than Jones, and mainly Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has been going with Smalling and Lindelof as a centre-back partnership, since Solskjaer, got recommended to come into the club. And in some games, we have seen the best of Chris Smalling, of course, but he's aging up now, Chris Smalling, and he's been a long-serving player of the club. club. You know, he's been here 9 years as Chris Smalling. So I do believe we need an upgrade in defence. You know, some people say, you know, we need two central defenders, and I'd love Koulibaly, you know, to come in. And he'd be really, really good. And Manchester United, as you all know, have been long admirers of him. You know, obviously we're heavily linked to him under Jose Mourinho. You know, we had 3 bids, you know, turned down for him last year. I think he is regarded as one of the best centre backs in the world. He's 27, you know, nearly 28 years of age, but he's got all the attributes to succeed in the Premier League. He's strong, he's quick, he's very, very good in the air and holds his line very, very well. Been at Napoli about 5 seasons now, made about 211 appearances in all competitions. So yeah, I'd love Koulibaly, you know, to come in. I know there's been a lot of other defenders. I know there's been a lot of talks of Leicester City's Harry Maguire. I'd also love him to come in. I think if we were to get Harry Maguire and Koulibaly, you know, that would be even more better than just getting Koulibaly on the board. And comparing Harry Maguire and Koulibaly is much better than Harry Maguire. Koulibaly's on a different level to Harry Maguire, but I still like Harry Maguire. He knows about the Premier League. You know, he's been at Leicester a couple of seasons, and he's in his mid-20s. He's, 26 years of age, so he has still got a lot of years ahead of him. And Harry Maguire hasn't really, you know, yet played to the highest level because he hasn't really played for any. He hasn't played for any big teams. Harry Maguire, so I love him to come and experience the Manchester United facilities. Harry Maguire, and defensively, you know, he would improve as, you know, dramatically well, and he's tall as well, you know, which is very, very beneficial. But I don't think Manchester United are intending on breaking the world transfer record for Harry Maguire. But he's been on Manchester United's agenda. And other defenders have been mentioned, you know, Toby Alderweireld from Tottenham, you know, Rafael Varane from Real Madrid. So yeah, we've got to get at least one central defender in, but maybe we should try and get 2 in. I do believe we need a right back. You know, we definitely need a right back. You know, I think we need a replacement for Valencia, definitely. We need an upgrade to Ashley Young. And yeah, so we do need to definitely, you know, get a right back in, as I said near the beginning of the video. And talking about, you know, I think we're going to get rid of Rojo this summer. I also think we're going to get rid of Matteo Darmian, which is very, very good, and I think they're going to leave anywhere. I want them to leave, but I think they're going to leave anywhere, and I think we could get around £30 million, you know, for Rojo and Darmian. They've both enjoyed difficult times at Manchester United. You know, Darmian's just not too long ago recovered from a long-term absence, hasn't really had the opportunity at Manchester United. Rojo, of course, has, you know, I think he struggled with his fitness regime at Manchester United, Marcus Rojo, because Rojo has sustained, you know, quite a few injuries as a Manchester United player. Isn't first choice anywhere, so I do believe we could cash in for Rojo and Darmian this summer, you know, which is very, very good. But yeah, nothing much really more to update you on, guys. But as I did say, the main part of this video is, you know, to basically say, you know, we know that we're getting £250 million to spend this summer. But I'm asking you now, what type of players, you know, what players would you recommend to come in, you know, with this £250 million we are getting? I do believe we need to get 5 players in at least. But what players, you know, would you bring in? Of course, you know, let me know in the comments below. Just please let me know, you know, what players would you get rid of? Obviously, all the players, you know, the vast majority of Manchester United fans do want to get rid of. We're not going to be able to get rid of them all in one window. It will take a couple of windows, you know, to process that out. But yeah, I think we need to get rid of at least 5 players. Another problem with Manchester United, you know, we've been letting far too many players' contracts run down, and that's been also, you know, another problem. But I do believe there's cultural problems at the club, and there's a lot of issues at the club. And the start is we've got to resolve these problems this summer. But there's been a lot of talks today about Wilfried Zaha in the media, as you all know. Now reportedly, as I said near the beginning of the video, Crystal Palace reportedly now want around £100 million for Wilfried Zaha. They could demand £100 million for him. But regardless if he comes to Manchester United or not, if Palace sell him this summer, Manchester United I think we receive around £15 million. Obviously, you know, based due to the sell-on clause. And I always thought we had a sell-on clause in Wilfried Zaha's deal, which means if he gets sold, we will benefit from it because we get around £15 million reportedly. So yeah, I don't think he'll come to Manchester United anyway. I think Wilfried Zaha could end up going to Arsenal if they get Champions League football for next season. If Arsenal don't get Champions League football for next season, I think he may intend on going to Tottenham. I think there's been also other teams interested in him. I think did Dortmund express an interest in Wilfried Zaha, but I know was it back in February, you know, Arsenal inquired about getting him on the board, but I don't think he'll return to Manchester United. You know, Wilfried Zaha, you know, we have known players over the age, you know, got return back to the clubs that, you know, they previously, you know, played for, of course, but I don't see him coming to Manchester United, you know, Wilfried Zaha, because obviously he wants to play in Champions League football. This is the main factor reason why he wants to leave Crystal Palace, and he wants to be playing to the highest level. So he wants So he wants to be playing to the highest level, does Wilfried Zaha. So yeah, that's mainly everything to update today, guys. Drop your comments, likes below on the channel. We'll be back tomorrow with some more videos. And if you do consider subscribing, as always, and take care, God bless, and I'll see you again very, very soon. Thanks for watching.